I think it's also part of a broader perspective, the situation of the criminal justice system in this country, the fact that we see regularly on social media, you see videos of people being arrested for things that they say that are regarded as offensive, but you also see statistics in the press about how burglary has essentially been legalised in this country because burglaries are just not being investigated and solved. And so you have this whole bigger picture where you see police officers who are arresting somebody for disrupting. So when the Just Stop Oil protesters were doing their slow march, a man gets out of his van and tries to clear them from the road, something the police should be doing. They then go and arrest the man who's trying to deal with the protesters.
They used more force on the guy than the guy had actually used on the protesters as well, if you remember.
I think people see all of these things taking place and they think the police are not doing what the police ought to be doing. And they're doing many things that they shouldn't really be doing, like putting out the message that being offensive is an offence, which it absolutely isn't. And so even myself, I was burgled during lockdown. I was in the building, but they broke into the building, stole my bike. And when I called up the police, they said to me, look for your own bike on Gumtree.
So do you think, though, that
people are having daily interactions with the police that are making them distrust the system?
And with everything going on in the world, do you think that the police should be spending their time looking for your bike?
Well, I think that it's important on a basic level that the police can deal with crimes like burglary. It's important for law and order. You can't just solve the biggest crimes and ignore the smaller ones. For a society that's ordered and safe, you need to deal with basic things like people breaking... Because burglary is also dangerous. There's also a threat of people...
It's the broken windows theory.
It is, in New York, yeah.
If you allow people to get away with what you just disregard as low-level crime, then that, in reality, becomes a bit of a gateway for people to then think, well, I can do that. No, there's no sanction, I wasn't arrested, I'll just go and do the next thing. And, the truth is, I think we need to separate the institution of the police force from individual police officers. Mm-hmm. There are fantastic individual police officers.
I agree
They're
with
very
that.
brave, and as you said, Michelle, they put their lives on the line for us, and we should respect that. But as an institution, the police they are absolutely failing. And in reality, if they were a commercial organisation, they would be up before trading standards because they do not do what they are supposed to do. And now we are taxpayers and we're entitled to expect a particular service. They have frankly given up the fight against what we were saying low-level.
But people were screaming at the screen saying it's not the police's fault, it's the cuts to the number of police and all the rest of it. They've had to prioritise what they do and don't do. That's what people will be saying.
Well, I don't think that... I mean, there's some truth in that, I'm sure, but I don't think it explains everything. I think the way that the police, I think the fact that they've abandoned the streets, I think the fact that they've allowed themselves all too easily to be turned into social workers stroke social activists. When you say cuts, it isn't cuts that forces police officers to take part in pride parades, for example, and start dancing around. It isn't cuts that force police officers to take the knee.
What is it then? Management directed? Do you think this is coming from above, where you've probably got this layer of kind of work management or whatever you want to call it? They want to be seen. They've probably got targets, It wouldn't surprise me if some of these police bosses have got these targets, right? You've got to make sure you tick this box, that box, this. You've got to make sure that you demonstrate that you're inclusive to this community, that community. And maybe it's these kind of targets and stuff that then trickle down, which result in what we end up seeing, which is the stupidity of policing priorities.
Well,